Welcome to another episode of Make Adventure Happen podcast. In this podcast, we talk about travel. We talk about our own travel experiences and we talk about specific travel destinations. When talking about specific travel destinations, we also answer some of the most popular questions about these travel destinations. This is going to be a solo episode. This is going to be only me today, and I'm going to talk about Nepal, a country that we both have been to. Una has been as well. We went to Nepal the very first time in 2016 or 17. We went to Nepal together. We spent a full month in Nepal. During that very first experience in Nepal, we did the full Annapurna Circuit, a very popular hiking trail. Our very first experience in the mountains, high mountains, our very first experience going this high in the mountains, the highest place where we went to on that hike was 5,416 meters. That's very high. That's higher than any place in the Western Europe. That's higher than the Alps. That's higher than the highest mountain in European Union, the Mont Blanc. It was amazing. A year later, I returned to Nepal for one more time, did the same hike again, only during a different season. Super beautiful. And last year, 2023, I went to Nepal again. This time on different kinda trip. I didn't go to any high mountains. You can see videos from that experience, from the latest experience on the channel. Go and check them out. You can also go to Nepal and do something else, not just high mountain hikings. You can do some lower hiking. You can go on jungle trekking kind of experiences. I didn't do these things because upon my research I realized that I don't really like how they execute them, and so I didn't have that much time to find an operator, a trip operator that would be doing things the way that I felt good about. Okay, Nepal. Let's go. I have gone to Google. I have googled Nepal. Let's see what are the most popular questions in Nepal, and I'll answer them. Is Nepal part of India or China? Neither of them. Nepal is a separate country. Nepal is a different country. Nepal, in a way, feels somewhat like India, but I will agree, and I know that Una would also agree with me, and with all those people who have said that Nepal, after India, feels like a peaceful, nice, calm, clean, with very few people. It feels like a calm and nice change after India. And it's mostly due to the culture, I would say, due to the way how people interact with you. You feel way more at ease in Nepal than in India. But Nepal, a separate country. What is Nepal famous for? First and foremost, for the mountains. Nepal is famous for its mountains. I don't remember exactly, but it could be so that 8 or 10 or even 14 of the tallest mountains in the world, tallest peaks, they are in Nepal, in the Himalayas, in the Himalayan mountain range. That's the number one thing that people know Nepal for. I know that quite a few people know it also as a super cheap travel destination, super cheap backpacking travel destination. It has been known for it at least for like 5-6 decades. People have been going to Kathmandu for many decades. Many still do that, just for that reason that Nepal is this cheap travel destination, cheap backpacking destination, cheap place where you can still find a place, a bed or a room for $10, 10 American dollars, 10 euro, or even less for a night. So 200-300 for a whole month. Meals are still available starting from $1 or less, €1 or less. I was the last time in 2023. Still, the same low prices are possible. Yeah, and that's what makes Nepal known as a cheap travel destination as well. And there are also some people that go for the unique Nepalese culture, which is a mix of Hinduism, I believe also Buddhism, and just the mountain people life. These are the 3 top things that come to my mind, that I know also other people think when they think of Nepal. But first thing and foremost, it's just one thing, mountains. Is Nepal worth seeing? Definitely. If you want high mountains, definitely. For any other things, not sure. Depends on your interest, depends on what you want to see, what's your travel experience, what are your expectations. For the mountains, 100%. Nepal has some of the very, very, very best mountain views in the world, and they are very easily accessible. Like you can see from my last year's videos, I just jumped on a bus, paid $1.50, I believe, like €1.50, so super cheap. The money that you pay for, I wanted to say coffee, but the coffee costs like 3 times more in Latvia at the moment, or 2 times more. Little money, 1 or 2 hours on a bus, and you are in the mountains. They are super easily accessible. You can get up close super easily. Although I must say that if you want to do something more serious, go on these long hikes like we have done with Una, and I have done it twice. Now, in most of these situations, you need a guide or you need to join a group trip. Before, when we were doing that in 2016, yeah, 2016 and 2017, you could do that without a guide, without a porter. You could just use, I don't know, what you want. We were using a paper map. We bought a paper map. We came up with the itinerary that was also recommended by others who have done this trail, and there are many people who have done these things on their own without a guide. It's doable. These trails, they have been made the way that they are doable by individual hikers. There are places where to stay, places where to eat. You don't need a tent, you don't need to carry food. You don't need to be like self-sustainable. You don't need to go on a self-sustainable, self-supported hike. But the rules have changed, and now the government is asking you to have a guide or to join a group trip. Okay, is Nepal good for tourism? It's okay. It can be better. At the moment, with how it is, it's a little bit rough traveling in Nepal. Let's put it this way. It's somewhat like traveling in India, for example. Yeah, only you are getting less attention in Nepal. But it's somewhat rough, and that's the number one reason why I wouldn't say that it's super easy, like that Nepal is super ready for tourism, even though tourism is such an important thing for Nepal. But if you are okay with that, if you are okay with these lower standards, with hotels, with the simple buses, with buses being late for many hours sometimes, like a 200-kilometer journey can take a full day, and sometimes you may not even make it in a day. If you are fine with that, yeah, like it's not impossible, it's not crazy hard, it's just not too comfortable, and that may put off some people. Be prepared for that. Is it safe to walk in Nepal? Yeah, it's fine. Is Kathmandu safe for tourists? From my own experience and from what I have heard from other people, yeah, Kathmandu is a safe city for tourists. I have never felt threatened. You may feel uncomfortable just for the fact how rough is the city. Time has passed and I saw some changes when compared to what the city was like in 2016 and 2017, but it's still very underdeveloped. That means lights may go out, there may not be street lights, so after dark it's gonna be dark, and streets are not great, pavements not great, loud, noisy, lots of people, lots of traffic, extremely packed streets, the busiest, the main streets, the most important, most popular streets of Tamil area, especially the area where most of tourists stay, and that may make you feel unsafe. Just the fact that it's so unfamiliar to you. If you're coming from Europe, if you're coming from Japan or South Korea, it may make you feel uncomfortable. But not because there is some danger or crime waiting, most likely, but simply because of the way things work there in Nepal. More rough, more busy, bustling. Okay, let's go further. The usual question, can you wear shorts in Nepal? Yes, you can wear shorts. Would I wear shorts? Yeah, because lots of people go to Nepal for hiking. And when Westerners go anywhere for hiking, they often go in shorts. Because in Nepal it's not cold. It's cold in the mountains, during the winter, but generally it's mild. The climate is mild, and then yeah, so people wear shorts, and you won't be the only one, unless you go to some remote place somewhere alone. Then just, dress like the locals dress if you want to be feeling the best. Okay, do's and don'ts in Nepal. Do's and don'ts in Nepal for tourists. I actually want to highlight only one thing from our own experience. In 2016, we were hiking in Nepal for the very first time, going to the tall mountains, high mountains for the very first time, and I just realized that it won't really apply to you because now you cannot do that on your own. Okay, so we went to the mountains, we stopped at some place for the night, and in the evening a lady comes, the owner comes to our place, and she says to our room, blah 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 blah, something danger, be aware that some bad man may come, they may rob you, they may take your things, steal your stuff, don't turn the light off during the night, and blah 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 blah. Stressful evening, stressful night, nothing happened, but then we decided that we will never stay in a place where there are only a few buildings. It was a really small place, and we will never stay in a place where there are no other people, no other tourists, because even if nothing happens, it's not the most not the situation that I would want to be in, and not a setting that I would recommend you to be in Nepal. Other than that, no big do's and don'ts that I would say. It's easy place to travel. Rough, crowded. Things may not work when and how you want them to work, but things work. Things get done. You get to places. You find places. Yeah. Nothing that I would highlight. Nothing else. Is Nepal expensive to travel? Let's go with the usual way. People usually ask, is $100 enough for a place? So, is $100 enough for Nepal? It definitely is. It's enough for you as a solo traveler. It's enough for you as a couple traveling to Nepal, because for $20, it's easy to find a good room, decent room, nice room. If you pay more, like I was paying the last time, it was like 50 or 6, I think it was 60. It was incredible. Really good room. You can also see a video from that place. Just go to the channel and to my channel and look up the Nepal playlist. Food cheap, transportation cheap. Actually, with $100 you can even join a group tour and go hiking high in the mountains, most likely. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it must be, because I remember when we were doing the thing solo, when we were just hiking on our own, it was easily possible to do the thing with the $20 a person a day budget. So $40 to person, $50 two persons a day. It was super easy. And prices haven't really changed that much. So I hope I haven't really been looking at what are the tour prices and how much the guides are charging at the moment. So I hope it's possible to do this thing on $100 a day budget. If it's not, I think it's expensive. I would consider going maybe to Pakistan. Pakistan has similar mountains. Yeah, but $100 a day enough. Is Nepal expensive? It's not, it's cheap. Oh yeah, is $100 a lot of money in Nepal? Yeah, a lot. Okay, do you need a visa for Nepal? Yes, you need a visa when traveling to Nepal. Most of people when traveling to Nepal, they need a visa. We Latvians need a visa. Most of or all of Europeans need a visa. As far as I know, Americans, British, most likely, yes, need a visa. It can be obtained on arrival. I remember that this time I filled in some form online, and that made things at the airport way quicker. The last two times before that, when we were traveling to Nepal, we were applying for the visa on arrival and hadn't done anything in advance. I believe it wasn't even possible to do things in advance back then. Now it is, and I recommend you to do it. And the previous times it was a long time at the airport. Now I was through the passport control with my visa in my passport in something like 5 minutes. Super easy. You need a visa, you can buy it on arrival. Better fill in the forms in advance online. What is the best months to visit Nepal? For the hiking, there are two best seasons in Nepal. Spring and autumn. That means late March, April, like April, May. April, May is the best, the safest time to go for most of the hiking trails. And then September, October is the second best. Spring, more snow in the mountains. If you like to see more snow, it's the best time for you. It's also the time when you can see flowers in the mountains, when the nature is waking up after the winter. And autumn has the best sky, the clearest sky. That also means beautiful mountain views. So that's the two considerations to take into account when thinking of going to Nepal. And here's some information from our experience, some tips. So actually we have been in 3 seasons. Yes. First time, very first time we went to Nepal in off season, and only because we were planning to do, and we did, the Annapurna Circuit. And Annapurna Circuit is one of those hiking trails that you can do also in off season, because the mountain range, the place where the hike is, it's in so-called rain shadow. That means that it's not raining there. That means when you go high up in the mountains, and most of the trail is high in the mountains, like elevations are 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and like that. And in these elevations, the rain isn't raining. It wasn't raining when we were doing that thing. So it was summer, June, off season, Annapurna Circuit. Good experience, very few people. The next time I went in spring, March, mid-March until late March. It was also an amazing experience. The nature looked completely different. At lower elevations, it looked very tropical. Higher in the mountains, lots of snow, very beautiful. There was one thing that almost made us not to do the whole circuit the second time. I was hiking with other people. The thing was that that time there was a lot of snow that winter, and that spring as well. And as we were hiking towards the mountains, I remember that we were seeing people coming back from the mountains because there was too much snow. People couldn't go across the highest mountain pass, and that was the only option to finish the trail. You had to go across that mountain pass at 5,416 meters. But we didn't retreat right away. We didn't go back to Kathmandu right away. We thought, okay, let's just keep walking towards the mountains. And at the end, the weather changed rapidly, and we could do the hike, we could do the loop, we could go across that mountain pass. But that's a thing to take into account. Be careful when planning to go earlier than most of people are doing. Check the weather information in advance, because if there is a lot of snow, you cannot do this whole hike. That's of course if you are planning to do the Annapurna Circuit. With the other hiking trails, it's similar, just check what's the best weather for that trail. And the last time I was in autumn, and it was just beautiful, nice weather, but actually not on all days. I also had cloudy days. When I went to Nagarkot, I remember seeing the mountains on the first day or days, and then having extremely cloudy days, like gray, cloudy, overcast. So even autumn is not the best always. The weather changes. Spring and autumn, two of the best seasons. In summer it's raining, and during the winter it's just cold. Can I travel Nepal alone? Yes, you can travel to Nepal alone. Many people go to Nepal alone, but you cannot do the long hiking trails alone anymore. Well, you can, but if you are joined by a guide. How many days in Nepal is enough? If just for the culture, and that's most likely Kathmandu, maybe Pokhara, places near Kathmandu, then you can do it in a week. If it's hiking, then most likely something like 2 weeks. And if it's a mix of everything, some long hike, culture, and going also on a jungle safari, then something like 3 weeks. Mostly because Nepal has very bad transportation. It's getting around is taking lots of time. Yeah. That's why to many places you can fly, even though just looking at these distances it seems like it doesn't make sense. I was checking the flight availability as well the last time. I was like, hey, it's 3 hours or 2 hours in a car back home, but in Nepal there is a flight. And why? Because in Nepal it's not 2 or 3 hours. In Nepal it's 12 or 13 hours. The roads are bad. So 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on what you are planning to do. But doing mountains and something more in 2 weeks can be tricky, can be too much, just because getting around is so slow. Is 7 days enough for Nepal? Well, depends what you do. Is Nepal safe for solo females? I can't say from my own experience, but what I can say is that I have seen many solo female travelers in Nepal. How long can a tourist stay in Nepal? Like I said, you need a visa, and visa is for 14 or 15 days, so half a month, months, and 3 months. That's the beauty of traveling to Nepal, that there are these options, all available on arrival for Europeans. Check if they are available also for you. How can female tourists wear shorts in Nepal? Yeah, I would say yes. How to plan a trip to Nepal? Find the things that you want to do and make a plan. Okay. How to do Nepal on a budget? It's easy. You just choose cheap stuff. Simple. Cheap accommodation is available online. You don't have to, like in some other places, like look for these homestays, guest houses online somewhere else. You just go to Booking or Agoda. They are there. And when it comes to food, just walk around and compare prices. Even in Kathmandu you can find extremely cheap places, like India cheap places, Pakistan cheap places, where you can get a plate of rice with meat or vegetables or curry for $1 or euro. It's very possible. Transportation is generally just cheap unless you take a flight. Flights are not cheap unless you are from Nepal. For foreigners, flights are expensive, more expensive. Not crazy expensive, but something like $100. And also can go up to like $500. That's expensive. $100, it's fine. Okay, food. Oh yeah, food. Is food spicy in Nepal? Not really. Yeah, not really. What are the most famous foods in Nepal? I think it's 2 things. In my experience, it's 2 foods. Dal bhat and momos. Momos are dumplings. A plate of momos, 8-10 momos can be as cheap as 60 cents, 80 cents, $1, €1, like very, very affordable. And dal bhat is the most popular food that you get in the mountains, and not only, but more in the mountains, more outside the city. In the city, it seems like people are eating more variety of food, like momos, soup, what was it, tukpa maybe, rice, noodles, but more away from Kathmandu, people and especially in the mountains, they like to eat dal bhat. And dal bhat, it's like thali in India. If you know what is thali, it's very, very similar. So it's like a lentil soup or something like that, plus rice, some pickles, some vegetables, some curry, all on a big plate. That's the most popular #1 food in Nepal. You see it also on places like on t-shirts, for example. Dal bhat power. Yeah, dal bhat is very popular. And most likely the #1. Let's see what this says. Yeah, the most popular food in Nepal is dal bhat. That's it. For the mountains. Yes, I can highly recommend you to visit Nepal. For something else, depends what you are into. Until next time, bye.